Hey, so I'm Yusuf, and today I'm going to be making a homemade lentil soup recipe based off of a completely plant based diet. But before I go over what I did, I want to quickly talk about my conclusion and the effectiveness of this diet and the results. So, I think the plant based diet is definitely effective and sustainable, and it's a way of eating that focuses on whole, minimally processed, and I guess you could say real foods such as fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. And what I like about this diet, especially, is that it's not just a short term weight loss diet, but it supports long term health and overall well being that will lead to that weight loss. So, this diet is definitely effective because it's naturally high in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, which helps lower cholesterol and improve digestion. It also reduces inflammation and decreases the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease and type 2 diabetes. So, the key is when it's planned properly, it can also provide enough protein, iron, and other essentials. And the way you can have enough protein, let's say, is by consuming chickpeas, lentils, such as I'm doing right here, and nuts as well can also provide a good source of protein. So I think this can also be effective for every single type of age, for younger children in terms of development, I think for adults in terms of helping with chronic diseases, and the potential results could be improved health, better energy levels, and incredibly improved healthy weight maintenance, and a reduced risk of disease. So overall, I would say that it's definitely a positive outcome when it comes to a plant-based diet, and also still tastes good. So I think that's also important. And the conception that protein isn't taken enough per se from this diet, I think is incorrect. If managed correctly, you can absolutely get enough protein, such as this meal that I'm making here. So as you can see, I cut up my onions, I cut up my carrots. However, I only showed one. There's 3 carrots. And in terms of the ingredients, we're gonna have 1 cup of lentils, 1 potato, 3 carrots, a quarter of an onion, half a cup of parsley, 3 tablespoons of crushed tomato, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of paprika, and a cup of boiled water. So I'm cutting my potatoes here into almost squares so that it can blend easily. So those are the vegetables as a whole, and we turn the pan onto low heat so that it can get preheated before we put our vegetables in. So now I'm just going to measure up the 3 tablespoons of olive oil, as you can see, as we pour it in. There we go. And so once the olive oil is complete, we can just pour it into the pan, eventually spread it out, and pour in our vegetables. Let that cook for a little while. What I've noticed when doing these videos and preparations is that vegetables take a lot longer to cook than any sort of protein product. So it's always good to get them done first before adding anything else in, such as the tomato paste, etc. So now once placed, you stir them around so that you can ensure a good cook and a good saute on every single side of the vegetable so that you can have a more complete dish. So now we pour in our lentils, which I said I rinsed around 6 times. You typically do it until the water is fully clear on the last rinse. And so as you can see, I'm just scooping those lentils in there. And it was, in terms of the hardest cut, which I didn't go over earlier because I was explaining my conclusion, I would definitely say the onions have given me the most trouble out of all the vegetables that I've done so far. The onions are typically hard to cut, and yeah, it's tough to sustain good even cuts when it comes to onions. I've noticed that too, opposed to the carrots and the potatoes. So now we get our tomato paste and we add our crushed tomatoes, and you add 3 tablespoons of it, and then you just mix that around. So there's the final scoop of the crushed tomatoes. And so yeah, you just kind of whisk it around for a little bit until it's fully mixed up. There's the half teaspoon of salt, and then you mix that around so that it's not concentrated on only one side but to all sides. And likewise, you also do that with a paprika, which you add half a teaspoon of paprika, ensuring a nice spice. And then you also add around approximately half a teaspoon of pepper as well. Ensure balance and to really add depth to the flavor. So now there's the boiled water. You pour the boiled water up to the highest vegetable. So there, you just continue to pour until it really reaches the top of the highest vegetable, which looks like the potato. And then there's that. So now we add the parsley. We're going to be adding a little on top later. There's the half cup of parsley. I couldn't get it all out. And you just mix that around. It adds the nice plant-based. It has a nice plant-based feel when it comes to especially a plant-based dish. So now you grab the mixer and basically just inject it to the bottom point of the pot so that the soup doesn't go out of the pot. And you just do that until you can get a nice consistency and nice texture with all of those vegetables blended up. I believe the carrots weren't blended up. I think I have to cut them shorter next time, so that's going to be a point of improvement there. And then you can just, after that, you let it cook for approximately 30 minutes. You actually, you blend it up after it fully cooks, and then you just sprinkle the little parsley on top, and that is the final dish. So thank you for watching, and that's my plant-based meal.